Unit 4, Section 4, Navigating Emotional Challenges. This presentation contains audio. Please ensure your speakers are turned up. Why should we as tutors prioritize the emotional issues of our students? This is a question that comes from a healthy place of caution, respecting the difference between the role of a tutor and the role of a counselor or mental health practitioner. One game changer in dealing with students who might or might not present with difficulties is to use what Dr. Noreen Groverley of Dickinson College describes as the pedagogy of empathy. This concept of incorporating empathy more fully into effective pedagogy acknowledges the role of the tutor as distinct from that of a therapist, and it also accepts the reality that students are going to come to tutoring with emotional baggage, but tutors might have to help unpack and put away in order to focus on the task at hand. One emotional issue that might present a predicament to the tutor is when a student is adjusting to a new culture. Some of Purdue global students are from other countries and are adjusting to living in the United States. Others might be students from the U.S. who are living abroad due to military service or work. In the 2000 language pedagogy textbook, Teaching Language and Context, Alice Amajo Hadley describes how students get frustrated and overwhelmed when at first they think their new cultural setting is parallel to their home culture, but learn that there are unique cultural phenomena that will not translate from a more familiar framework into a less familiar context. For instance, a student who has been educated through secondary school in China may have the idea of always using another scholar's exact words and never paraphrasing out of respect to the source. That student might experience a difficult transition to a U.S. academic writing idea of paraphrasing in order to keep control of the source's information in the hands of the writer. Likewise, a student from the U.S. might experience similar cultural shock when living abroad. While it might seem impossible, there are times when students arrive to tutoring with potentially distracting positive emotions. For instance, a student might come in thoroughly excited about a thesis statement he has created, but it turns out that he accidentally plagiarized much of it from a source he had read when his reference list. Another student might be pleased with her well-researched marine biology paper, but most of her in-text citations are made up of quotes from the Bible, describing beautifully written yet completely irrelevant to the assignment descriptions of the creation of the oceans. Like in all cases where a student comes in awash in strong feelings, whether positive or negative, it is important to meet the student where he or she is. By describing the positive intention, you are not telling the student that he or she made the good or right choice, rather you are validating the positive feelings the student has about the hard work he or she has done. There might be overthinking and overworking going on when a student brings what she thinks is an organized marketing plan, but is in reality a lengthy advertise for a company. Taking that step back and acknowledging the student's intentions will allow you to accomplish the crucial first step of meeting the student where he or she is. After that, make sure to play what Peter Elbow refers to as the believing game, where you see the text through the eyes of the student who wrote it. Let's apply concepts to a typical tutoring situation. James arrives for tutoring, but upon turning his microphone on, there is lots of background noise from his office. Once he starts typing instead, James indicates how stressed he is balancing his studies and his job. Sometimes students become overwhelmed. Bring the focus back on the tutoring task at hand with language, as in this example. In the next scenario, student Maria arrives for tutoring to discuss a paper that shows signs plagiarism. She is so upset she cannot focus on what to get out of her tutoring session. After acknowledging the student's positive intentions, use those positive intentions as the foundation for showing a better course of action than what was taken. Consider this example. In another scenario, Chris arrives for tutoring for help with a math problem. He is very self-conscious about returning to school after graduating from high school 20 years ago. Since Chris has met anxiety, he is having trouble focusing on applying a formula to solve the assigned equation. When a student seems overwhelmed by the big picture, helps steer the focus to one specific concept at a time. starting with a moment of specific praise if possible, then move on to offering specific step-by-step guidance as shown in the example. If a student continues to appear overwhelmed or unable to shake the anxiety or panic, stop the tutoring session and focus on the student's safety and well-being. Ask the student directly, "Do you feel safe where you are right now?" If the student indicates that he or she might feel unsafe or in danger, please consult the section on what constitutes a 60-minute rule, yellow or red alert, for reporting to your supervisor, and proceed as appropriate with reporting the safety concern. Here are 3 phrases a tutor might use in emotionally charged tutoring sessions.